We are now moving to a chapter about functions. Functions are independent pieces of code that have a specific function. You may or may not send the function some information when you call on it, and it may or may not return some data. Now this program is just to give you an idea of what you're going to be learning in this chapter. The main program over here is in the main function. And actually the main function is a function in itself. And let's look a little bit more closely at the syntax of a function. We have over here a return type. Over here is the name of the function. Over here is the information that we send to the function. Between the code brackets over here is the content in the function. And over here, when we do have a return statement or a return value, like here this integer, we also need a return statement. In this case, the main function returns the number 0 to indicate that there are no problems. Okay, so what you see over here is some definitions of function that are going to warn the main function here what they're going to be working with. We're going to work with a function called string getName, and that's a function that does not need any information and it returns a string. And one thing that you want to keep in mind is that you want to give functions a good descriptive name. Now, if you call something getName, there is no doubt about what it's going to do. It's going to get you a name. And then, of course, it also wants to send it back. Over here is a function void showName. Now, void indicates that it doesn't send anything back. The name of the function indicates that it's going to show a name, and what it needs is a string, in this case the name, and how many times it's going to be showing. It's just going to show some information, it does not return anything. Again, that's the void here. The integer getTimes indicates that this is a function that returns a number, and we get something. We don't send it any information, but we get the number of times that the name is going to be printed. And then over here a Boolean function, a checkTimes. So we check if the number of times is a valid number. You cannot show something a negative number of times. You send it an integer and it will send back whether it's a valid number or not. Okay, now let's just look at the main function over here and go over this and ask yourself, what does this function really do, or what does this program do? And I think that you can see from the code over here that somewhere in the program, first you're going to get a name, and then you're going to get a number of times, and in this case it's going to be the number of times that the program is going to be printed. And then over here we're going to show it, and then we're going to decrease times with 2. And we're going to show the name again, only 2 times fewer. And then we'll make it 2 times even less, and we're going to show the name again, in this case 4 times less than in the beginning. So let's run this. Enter a new name, and I'll do my last name, Beckering, over here. And how many times do you want to see it? Let's do 10. So over here first it prints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then it prints goodbye, just to show you that is done printing that particular function. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 2 less, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the relevance over here is that you can see that we can call a function multiple times within the same program, and that's one of the advantages. The other advantage is that it's much easier to work with the program because you don't putting all the code in the main function, and that way you can strip some things out and work on it in a smaller scale. Okay, so if we have this function getName, it gets a name for us. So over here we have to declare the string new name, tell the user enter a new name, user enters it, and you send it back. That's the string here. The function void showName does not return anything. You don't see a return statement here. That's why it's void. It's just going to show the name a certain amount of times. So over here, and let me move this down a little bit. Over here we have our loop, and we go up to and including the number of times that we have over here, because we start counting at 1, and then we print a line over here, doctor and whatever the name is, and then when we're done with the loop, just indicate that we're done with goodbye. Get the number of times. After you get the name, you also want to know how many times. So over here we're going to send back the number of times as an integer. We have to make sure that the program knows that we're going to work with the variable times. Ask the user how many times do you want to see the name. User enters it. And this is where one function can call another. We're going to call check times. And when we call check times over here, we send it that number. If it's less than 5, then we really cannot do it because we're decreasing by 2 times 2. So, 5 is about the minimum. So we give the message invalid number must be greater than 5. And it sends back false. If it's okay, then it's returning true, and that's the Boolean value that it returns. It gets over here. If it's not okay, then it will ask again how many times do you want to see the name, and it will ask for it again, and it will keep doing that until finally the number is a correct number. So we've seen that 5 is still acceptable, 4 isn't. So here we go again. And we want to see it 4 times, and it says no, cannot do that. Let's do it 5 times, and then it will work with 5, 3, and 1 time. Okay, one final thing. It's also possible to define these functions and put them before the main function. And we'll talk about that too. And if you do that, you place all this code over here. You don't have to warn the program about what they're going to be using. The only thing that the main function really needs to know is what comes back, a string or nothing, what the name is of the function that we need to call, and what information we're going to send to it. So as long as you tell that information, then it knows enough to work with it. If we don't use this function prototype, that's what it's called, it's kind of like a warning, and we want to use it now, and we don't give that warning that we're going to use a get name. When we try to run this, it will crash, and if we make it available again, uncomment it, then you see that it works just fine. Good. Just a short overview of what we're going to be doing in this chapter.